Most men think pleasure starts with hands. The truth? It starts with presence. You can't make a woman wet. You can only awaken what's already inside her. It's not about pressure. It's not about speed. It's about energy, timing, and awareness. Tonight, I'll teach you how to make her body respond before you even touch her, how to turn anticipation into desire, and desire into trust. Before her body reacts, her mind must surrender. Every physical response begins as an emotional signal, a sense that she's seen, safe, and free to let go. A woman doesn't truly open because you touched her right. She opens because you made her feel right. It's not weakness, it's wiring. Her nervous system is built to protect before it can receive. If she senses pressure, her body tightens. If she senses patience, her body softens. This isn't about technique, it's about tone. Energy travels faster than words, and a woman's body listens to that energy first. When you rush, you trigger her guard. When you slow down, you tell her subconscious, there's no threat here. That's when her breathing changes. That's when her eyes stop scanning and start focusing on you. You've shifted her from survival mode to surrender. So before you ever reach for her skin, reach for her calm. Create an emotional space where she can feel desired, not demanded. Where she knows she's wanted, but never used. That kind of safety is what turns chemistry into current, the invisible charge that begins pulsing before a single touch happens. And here's the paradox most men miss. The slower you go, the faster she opens. Because desire isn't something you take. It's something she gives when she feels it's safe to flow. So next time you wonder how to start, don't think of moves or lines. Think of presence. Think of how your silence feels. Think of the weight of your gaze, the steadiness of your breath, the patience behind your pause. Because in that space, between hurry and hesitation, is where a woman's mind begins to say yes, long before her body ever does. Your energy sets the entire tempo of the interaction. Before you even say a word, she's already reading it. The rhythm of your breath, the weight of your footsteps, the pauses between your sentences. If you walk into a room restless, scattered, or overly eager, she feels it instantly. Her body tightens. Her guard rises. Because a woman's nervous system is built to mirror the energy around her. And if your energy feels rushed or uncertain, hers instinctively goes into defense. But when you move with calm certainty, when every gesture feels measured, deliberate, anchored, she softens without even realizing it. That's the essence of state transfer, the silent exchange of emotion and energy. You don't have to convince her of anything. Her body synchronizes with yours automatically. When your breathing slows, her breathing begins to match. When your voice lowers and your movements become unhurried, her muscles start to release. You're not controlling her. You're guiding her nervous system towards safety. That's where attraction begins. Not in tension, but in surrender. Every woman can feel when a man has mastered his internal rhythm. It's in the way he stands still while everyone else fidgets. It's in the way his silence feels louder than another man's words. That kind of energy doesn't ask for attention. It draws it in effortlessly. Understand this. The calmer your state, the stronger your influence. Because calm energy communicates abundance. It says, I have time. I'm not chasing. I choose my pace. And that unspoken confidence gives her something she rarely experiences, permission to stop performing, to simply breathe and feel. That's the paradox most men miss. They think passion is created by intensity. But real desire grows in the quiet moments, in the stillness where she feels your composure wrapping around her like gravity. So slow down, breathe deeper. Every pause is power, every exhale is leadership. The man who controls his energy doesn't just calm a woman, he awakens her. Don't rush to touch, let her wait, let her want. A woman's desire doesn't ignite through constant motion, it awakens in space. The space between your words, the gap between your breaths, the small distance between your hand and her skin. When she doesn't know when it's coming, her imagination becomes your accomplice. Every heartbeat turns into a countdown. Every glance becomes a question. Will he? Anticipation is the oldest and most powerful form of stimulation known to the human mind. It activates the same chemistry as falling in love. Dopamine rising, pulse quickening, awareness sharpening. When she feels what's coming but can't predict when it will happen, her body begins to prepare for it on its own. That's why the best moments happen before the touch. When your presence fills the room, and every second feels stretched, she's no longer thinking. She's feeling. The air grows heavy, her breathing slows, and her mind starts painting the moment itself. You're not manipulating her. You're guiding her into the rhythm nature designed, the rhythm of patience, attention, and control. Because a woman doesn't fall for the man who touches her first. She falls for the man who makes her wait for it, who builds the electricity so thick that by the time he finally moves, her entire body says yes before her lips ever do. That's not teasing. That's mastery. You're not rushing to claim the moment. You're letting it ripen. And when it finally happens, it feels inevitable. Anticipation isn't about denying pleasure. It's about magnifying it. Because the longer the buildup, the stronger the release. And the man who understands that never needs to chase excitement. He creates it, one pause at a time. Pleasure can't exist without safety. Soft light, warm air, clean scent. These aren't small details. They're coded messages to her nervous system. Every sense you engage whispers the same thing. You're safe. You can let go. Because before her body can open, her mind has to exhale. You're not just setting a scene. You're setting permission. Think of the room as part of your touch. The temperature, the lighting, even the silence between sounds. All of it strokes her subconscious before you ever reach her skin. If the light is too harsh, she tightens. If the air is too cold, she retreats. But when the air feels warm and her surroundings feel alive with calm intention, something shifts deep inside her. It's not about candles and roses. It's about awareness. The way you fold the blanket, the way music hums low in the background, the way your movements match the rhythm of the room. That's the conversation her body understands. The environment becomes an unspoken language of care. Because when the space feels safe, her breath changes. Her shoulders drop. Her pulse slows. She begins to melt, not because of what you're doing, but because of what she finally doesn't have to do anymore. Protect herself. That's the real secret. The right atmosphere isn't about seduction. It's about removing resistance. You're not forcing attraction. You're clearing the noise so desire can breathe. And when everything feels intentional, not accidental, she feels valued, seen, and completely free to surrender. Your voice is foreplay. Before your hands ever touch her skin, your tone already has. Every syllable carries energy, either tension or release. If your words rush, she retreats. If they flow slowly, she exhales. Speak like you have nowhere to be. Let pauses hang in the air, long enough for her imagination to fill them. The man who pauses between words owns the rhythm of the moment, because silence, when done with confidence, is louder than noise. Drop your pitch slightly when you speak to her, not forced, not fake, grounded. Let your words come from your chest, not your throat. That resonance creates calm. It signals control. You're not asking for attention, you're guiding it. Say less, but mean more. Most men overtalk to compensate for nerves, but a woman doesn't need paragraphs. She needs presence. One sentence spoken with focus can melt her faster than 100 compliments said in panic. When your words sound like they come from certainty, she doesn't just listen, she feels. Her mind begins to relax, her heartbeat synchronizes with your tone, and the emotional noise inside her starts to fade. That's the real beginning of desire. When her nervous system stops defending itself and starts opening to you. Because a woman's mind hydrates before her body ever does. Her body follows her thoughts follow your energy, and your energy begins and ends with the sound of your voice. So learn to speak not to her, but through her. Let your tone say what words cannot. I'm here, I'm calm, I'm not in a hurry. And that's when she starts to melt. Not because of what you said, but because of who she feels when you say it. Eye contact is the most powerful nonverbal touch, the kind that speaks before any words exist. It's the moment when two nervous systems recognize each other without sound. When you hold her gaze, you're not just looking, you're communicating calm certainty. Most men break eye contact too quickly. They look away the second it feels intense, as if they've been caught. But the man who can stay there, steady, relaxed, breathing slowly, creates something magnetic. Because he's not staring to conquer, he's anchoring her in his calm. Hold her gaze until she looks away, not as a contest of power, but as a quiet transfer of presence. When your eyes don't flinch, when your face stays soft yet certain, she feels it in her chest before her mind can name it. That's grounding energy, the kind that makes her heartbeat slow, that tells her without words, you're safe here. Then pause. Don't rush to speak. Let the silence breathe between you like warm air. Because silence in the right hands is not emptiness, it's gravity. It pulls her in. It makes her wonder what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and why her body suddenly forgot how to move. Stillness is confidence made visible. When you can hold a moment without fidgeting, without performing, you show that your emotions belong to you, not to anyone else. That's the kind of quiet dominance that can't be faked. That pause, that single, patient breath, becomes its own kind of touch. It tells her that you don't chase validation, you radiate certainty. Every second you stay calm, the tension thickens. Not awkward, but electric. Because she senses what few men ever give her. Complete attention without the hunger of expectation. That's what separates men who seek approval from men who command presence. One looks for reaction. The other creates atmosphere. When your gaze carries stillness, you don't need to say much. Your eyes already did the talking. And in that silence, she begins to feel something rare. Not pressure, not performance, but peace laced with attraction. That's how you touch her without moving at all. When you finally touch her, touch to listen, not to impress, not to perform. Every breath, every shift in her muscles, every change in her rhythm is communication. Her body speaks long before her lips do, and most men never learn the language. That's because they're too focused on results, on trying to do it right, instead of feeling what's right in that moment. They move fast, chasing reactions instead of connection. But a woman's body doesn't respond to speed. It responds to awareness. When your hand touches her skin, pause. Don't rush to the next move. Notice how her breathing changes. Does she tense or soften? Does she lean in or pull back? That's her body speaking to you. And if you listen closely, it will tell you everything you need to know. You're not performing, you're reading. Every woman has her own map, her own code of rhythm and reaction. Your job isn't to force pleasure, it's to discover it, one breath at a time. When you slow down enough to let her body set the pace, you stop being another man trying to impress her. You become the man she feels safe surrendering to. Because true pleasure doesn't come from technique. It comes from presence, from your ability to feel her instead of fix her. Let your fingertips be curious, not confident. Let them ask questions her body answers in size and movements. You don't need to speak when your energy says, I'm here, I'm listening. That's the moment she feels seen, completely, silently, deeply. That's how connection becomes electricity, and how desire turns into trust. When you master that kind of listening, you'll realize something powerful. Her pleasure isn't something you create, it's something you allow. Hydration isn't physical first, it's emotional. It's not just the body preparing for pleasure, it's the nervous system letting go of control. When a woman's mind feels safe, her body starts to soften. When she feels seen, not judged. When your energy says, you don't have to perform here, her whole being exhales. That's when chemistry takes over. Naturally, effortlessly. Because desire isn't created by friction. It's awakened by safety, connection, and anticipation. This is science, not sorcery. Her body releases hormones that mirror relaxation, trust, and warmth. Oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin. They begin to flood her bloodstream, telling every cell, you're home. And that's when her body responds. Not because of the trick you used or the technique you copied, but because she feels peace in your presence. Understand this. A woman doesn't get wet because of what you do. She does because of what you represent. You are calm when she is chaos. You are grounded when she wavers. You are the stillness her body's been craving in a world that never lets her rest. When you understand that, touch becomes a whisper instead of a demand. Every movement, every breath becomes an invitation rather than an order. And that's what turns her on. Not pressure, not speed, not performance, but emotional permission to let go completely. Hydration, in its deepest form, is not moisture. It's surrender. And a woman can only surrender where she feels completely safe. So stop thinking about how to make her react. Start thinking about how to make her relax. Because the moment her body feels like it doesn't need to defend itself, that's the moment she begins to bloom. After pleasure, don't roll away. Don't rush. The silence after intensity is not empty. It's sacred. That stillness is where her heart catches up to her body. It's where connection transforms from physical release into emotional memory. Most men move too fast, as if the act ends the moment breath slows. But for her, that's when the real magic begins. Her body is still pulsing with the rhythm of what just happened. Her nervous system is soft, open, sensitive, and listening. If you leave too soon, you teach her that intimacy is performance. If you stay, really stay, you teach her that it's presence. Let your body rest beside hers without needing to say a word. Let your breathing slow until it matches hers. That silent synchronization tells her subconscious, you're safe, you're seen. Her body remembers your calm more than your moves. The strength in your stillness becomes the anchor her mind ties to. That's what makes her crave you. Not just for the pleasure, but for the peace. Run your hand slowly along her arm, not to restart anything, but to remind her that your touch isn't transactional. It's grounding. It's reassurance without words. Every heartbeat she hears against her skin tells her, you're still here. The next time she sees you, her body won't recall the chaos. It'll remember the quiet heartbeat, the warmth, the breath that felt like home. And that memory, that afterglow, becomes desire in its purest form. Because the real mark of a man isn't how he takes her there. It's how he holds her once they've both arrived. Forget the tricks. Forget the techniques. The secret isn't in motion. It's in emotion. Any man can learn a move. But presence? That's something you can't fake. It's the way you breathe, the way you don't rush, the way your energy fills the space without demanding anything in return. A woman doesn't open because you press the right spot. She opens because, for the first time, she feels safe to let go. Safe to stop performing, safe to surrender. And that happens only when you stop chasing the outcome. You're not trying to win, you're leading. You're not forcing her to feel something. You're creating space where she can feel everything. When your focus shifts from getting her there to simply being there, everything changes. Your breathing slows, your hands become intentional, not impatient. Your eyes tell her, I'm right here and I'm not in a hurry. That's when her body begins to melt. That's when desire turns from tension into trust. Because a woman hydrates not from lust alone, but from the relief of finally not having to control everything. So if you want to turn her on, start with this. Slow down. Breathe deeper. Move with purpose. Don't try to take, invite. Don't push, lead. Because power doesn't live in pressure. It lives in patience. Presence means you don't chase validation. You don't seek approval. You're grounded in yourself. Calm, aware, deliberate. And that calmness becomes magnetic. It draws her in like gravity. When she feels that, she won't question what to do next. Her body will tell you, in the way her breathing changes, in the way her skin warms, in the way silence suddenly feels electric. You'll never need to ask if she's ready. You'll feel it, because her body will speak to your stillness. And that's the language every real man must learn to understand. If this opened your eyes to what real connection feels like, don't just leave it here. Hit subscribe and share it with someone who deserves to hear it. Because somewhere out there, someone is still mistaking speed for passion, noise for presence, and pressure for love. Show them what real connection sounds like. True pleasure isn't about control. It's not about who leads or who follows. It's about rhythm. Two people breathing in sync, each trusting the other enough to stop pretending. It's awareness. It's patience. It's knowing when to touch and when to wait. When you learn to feel instead of force, every moment becomes charged. Every silence becomes intimacy. And here's the truth most men never discover. The deepest attraction doesn't live in the body. It lives in energy. It's not how much you take, it's how much you understand. Because when a woman feels understood, her whole body responds. So if you're ready to become the kind of man who no longer chases, but draws her in without effort, keep listening. Keep learning. Because this awareness, this control of your energy, is the difference between another ordinary night and a connection she remembers for the rest of her life. And the man who understands that never needs to ask for permission again. He doesn't convince. He doesn't beg. He simply is. Presence replaces pressure. Confidence replaces noise. And from that stillness, everything else flows naturally. If that's the kind of power you want to master, you're in the right place. Subscribe. Learn the language of energy, attention, and desire. Because when you finally get it right, she'll feel it before you ever touch her.